my team and tell the name of the chapter or name of the topic. Take the time slot, right? Fixed time slot with me, and I'll cover. Fine. So now let's start today's session. So today's session we have to start from here, right? We did this one, and I told you that the earthworm have been asked, frog have been asked, turtle have been asked, right? So these leech have been asked. These questions have been asked, right? So the questions came from this one. Guanotelic, twice or thrice the question. The answer was a spider. And uricotelic, right? The uric acid excretion. The question was have been asked from here. Now try to understand the structure of human excretory system, right? So basically, our excretory system is made up of kidney, right? Kidney and so main excretory part, core excretory part is kidney. Look, uh, we have a pair of kidney, but all the organs of our body are not equal or same, right? Any organ, the organ which are present in our pair, like even let's take hand, let's take leg, both of them do not have the similar physiology. There is a difference. So we have a pair of kidney. This kidney is a bit higher side. This kidney is a bit lower side, right? So this is it. This left side kidney is a bit higher in position. This one bit lower in position, right? And the both of the kidney have a gland at its top. This is called adrenal gland, and these are the gland which secrete the adrenaline hormone. We will discuss them in chemical coordination part of our the last chapter of human physiology. So we will discuss this gland in detail, and then there are look, the kidney are meant for. So this is the left kidney, this is the right kidney. The kidney are meant for filtration of urea, right? What happened? The blood comes from aorta, right? Comes from aorta and comes through this pipeline, and the pipeline which goes to the left and the right of part of the kidney. So this is called renal vein, right? So this is called a renal artery. So renal artery is that artery which bring uh, toxic blood or which bring the urea plus blood to the kidney. Means impure blood is brought to the kidney from aorta with the help of a renal artery. So renal artery bring it here. When it bring it here inside the kidney, there are millions of numerous small filter. So those small filter are there, and these filter two things, right? So this kidney have a small filter. That filter are called nephron. So nephron do one thing. Oh, look. So nephron do one thing. Nephron take two things from blood. They take the urea and some amount of water from the blood. So amount of water reduces when more blood comes to the kidney. It goes back, the amount of water reduces. That's why every time we have to drink water in some interval. So urea plus water, and this is the urine, right? So urine formation takes place at kidney. Now what happened? The purified blood goes back to the body with the help of left and right renal vein. Renal vein uh, take it back, and with the help of inferior vena cava, it reaches to the right part of auricle. We have studied in last class. Now, what happened? The kidney, which have already taken urea plus water, means that urine is transferred to the chamber with the help of these pipeline. These two pipelines, they are called ureter, left ureter and right ureter. Both of the ureter, they pour the urine in urinary bladder, right? They pour the urine in urinary bladder. Now, urinary bladder get filled. When we feel urination, right, then what happened? It keep on filling. Inside there are some muscles, sphincter muscles. So this is interior. There are two sphincter, internal sphincter or external sphincter. So what happened when we feel urination? You get the intuition that you need to go for urination. On that time, internal sphincter open, but external sphincter do not open, right? So external sphincter, when external sphincter open, when when external sphincter open, uh, when uh, when we go for urination, so external sphincter open and urine is released, right? So this is our excretory system. I have a question. There are certain animals which do not have urinary bladder. Tell me their name. The animals which do not have urinary bladder. Please note it down. Birds do not have urinary bladder. Birds do not have urinary bladder. Now this is the diagram of kidney. It is lateral section of the kidney and it's anatomical diagram. Look, there are certain covering which cover the kidney and for sake of protection, the function is they cover the kidney for sake of protection. So outermost cover is known as renal fascia, right? The outermost cover is renal fascia. Then there is a adipose capsule. This adipose capsule is made up of adipose tissue, where the fat deposition takes place, right? And this fat protect our kidney. Below the adipose tissue, there is a renal capsule. This renal capsule is also protective. So renal fasciola, adipose tissue, and renal capsule, they are the protective, right? Inside there is a part, this part. Inside was this part. So let me color it. This part. There is this part is called cortex. Half of the neuron is found in this part, this cortex part, right? And the rest half of the neuron is found in inner part. So this part is known as the cortex part. You can see. So cortex part, half of the neuron is found in cortex part, and the inner side part, right? That is uh, renal part, renal column part, right? So the inner side part that is in the renal column part. So how half of the neuron is found in cortex part and half in the renal column part. So this part is called the renal column part. This part you can see this part. So it is divided. Now this is important. This one. This is the renal column part, right? This one. This is renal column part. These are the renal column. These all part. And now you can see there are certain structure inside you. And these white color structure. So what we call these white color structure, they are called classes, right? There are two kind of the classes, major classes and minor classes. Look, this major branch is called major classes. So there can be 2 to 3 major classes, and every major classes have further branches. These are called minor classes, right? And at the end of the minor classes, there are certain hair-like structure. They are called medullary pyramids. So there are 15 to 16 medullary pyramids, right? And the blood comes in pure blood comes from the renal artery, and pure blood goes back with the help of renal vein. That you know, right? That we have already discussed. So renal vein take to the pure blood, and that purified blood we know that goes to the vena cava, inferior vena cava, right? Vena cava, right? And impure blood which comes through the renal artery that come from aorta. right? That you need to remember because these are the questions which are being asked. And this papilla-like part, this is called renal pelvis, and this is called ureter, right? So this was a bit a structure of the uh, one more important, which I have written over here that you need to remember. Every kidney have single kidney, right? Every kidney have approximately 10 lakh nephron, right? Sometimes you will find that there are 13 lakh nephron, 11 lakh nephron, but this is an average nephron. So every kidney have a small filter which we call them nephron, or which are the basic unit of the kidney. So there are 10 lakh nephron in every kidney. And what is the blood filtering capability? 1100 to 1200 ml blood per minute is filtered by kidney. Now you can understand that how efficient they are. Now urinary bladder. This is the anatomy of urinary bladder. Urinary bladder lies in the pelvic cavity, right? It is found in the pelvic cavity. Uh, Urinary bladder. So ureter come from here. The area where these both of the urinary ureter open, that is triangular structure. This is called trigone, right? And this is the oblique opening of ureter. There is no wall here, and this is the wall of urinary bladder. And these ureter open obliquely. That you need to remember. The that's why they not require any kind of the wall, right? They open obliquely. The inner lining of urinary bladder is made up of transitional epithelium, right? It is made up of transitional epithelium. Just few minutes before I was telling you, there are two sphincter, internal sphincter and external sphincter. Internal sphincters are involuntary, means they do not require our wish and they are not in our command. When you feel urination, this internal sphincter open. Basically, sphincter are a type of muscles which work as a wall, right? Which work as a wall like your pressure cooker wall, right? Your pressure cooker, there is a small valve at the top of pressure cooker. It open when the pressure is beyond certain limit, right? It will open and it will release the pressure, right? The same kind of the valve are found in the this one. Urinary bladder, and there is a two kind of the wall, internal and external sphincter. Internal sphincters are involuntary, means it cannot be controlled by our own wish, and external sphincter is voluntary and it is made up of skeletal muscles, right? And the opening is called urethral opening, right? So that was anatomical structure of our excretory system. Now come to the nephron. This is the structure of nephron. Now try to understand. This is single nephron, right? This is single part. This yellow color actually structure is called nephron, and around this yellow color structure, you can see there are certain pipelines, right? So look, this this structure is called glomerulus that help in filtration, right? And this structure is called Bowman's capsule. Blood goes through arteriole from the renal artery and come out through arteriole from renal artery, right? So renal artery takes and goes, right? Then filtered blood come out, and whatever the content is taken by or filtered by the glomerulus, we do not call that urine, we call that filtrate, right? So filtrate is a mixture of urea, water, and even some important component. Now what happened? Filtrate run in this yellow color structure which we call nephron, and around the filtrate there is a network of vein and arteries, means small very thin venules and arterioles, right? When the filtrate is passed through this filtrate passes through this one, uh, filtrate passes through this one, what happened? The exchange of these arterioles and venules, they absorb the important component which are still dissolved in the filtrate, right? And absorption of those important components like glucose, sodium and chloride ions, and some other important hormones which are going as a waste with the filtrate, they will be absorbed back by these venules. And what happened when this filtrate will reach at the last point here, right? So this point, this is called glomerulus, right? And after the glomerulus, this U shape is, this is called proximal convoluted tubule PCT, right? Because this is the proximity to the glomerulus, so called PCT, proximal convoluted tubules. Proximal means near to glomerulus, and convoluted means it is folded. Then this U-shaped structure is called loop of Henle. This part is called descending loop, and this part is called ascending loop. Then this part is called DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Distal means away from the glomerulus. So away from the glomerulus, that's what the distal. And again, convoluted tubules mean folded tubules. Then when DCT meet with this main pipeline, which is called collecting duct, right? When this filtrate reaches to collecting duct, we start using the term urine. Before the collecting duct, we do not use the term urine. Why? Because that is a filtrate. Because that contain very that contain lots of usable substance. But when it passes through the loop of Henle, DCT, and PCT, these blood capillaries absorb back the important substance and do not allow these important substance to go along with the urine, right? Then number of the nephron get attaches with this collecting duct, and this duct is responsible for collecting urine, right? That's it. Is that clear? Is that clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Very, very important part. JGA, glomerulus apparatus. JGA. Look, what is the JGA? Juxtaglomerular apparatus. They are nothing. They are a type of the cells, granular cell. Look, try to understand. This is the afferent pipe, means which bringing the urea plus blood, right? Afferent, it is bringing the urea plus blood, means unfiltered blood to get filtered. This is the efferent part from where the blood is filtered, blood is going out, right? And this part is PCT, this part is DCT. So what happened now? The same diagram have been enlarged. Wall of afferent, efferent, and glomerulus, they attaches with each other, right? They are in connection with each other. Now between them there are certain cells. You can see between them there are certain cells. These cells are basically this one, these one. These cells are basically these cells, which I have colored them yellow. These cells are basically meant for producing some enzyme hormones. So these cells are called JGA, juxtaglomerular apparatus, right? They are found between afferent, efferent, and distal convoluted tubule DCT. JGA have some granules and they secrete renin, right? Renin is enzyme as well as hormone. Renin is also secreted from where? In digestive system we have studied renin. Can anybody tell me?
From stomach.
Very good. What is the function of renin?
To digest
Addition of?
milk.
Very good. Milk protein, casein. Good, good. It is secreted in young one, and when we become adult, the secretion of renin stops over there. Very good. Excellent. Now, the renin is secreted from JGA. This renin triggers the formation of angiotensinogen, right? This renin trigger the formation of angiotensinogen. Now you need to remember this all story. This renin trigger the formation of angiotensinogen. Angiotensinogen is an inactive hormone. Angiotensinogen get converted into angiotensin, an active hormone. Angiotensin is responsible for increasing the blood pressure, right? So it is responsible for increasing the blood pressure. You have to remember what is the angiotensinogen, where is the angiotensin, and what is its impact, and from where it is secreted, or what is the function of JG. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
This is very important. Mechanism of urine form. It is very complex process. I have tried to explain this process with the help of this diagram. Everything which is required, that is there in this diagram. And whatever have been underlined, only that thing you need to remember. Whatever I have underlined, I repeat it again. Whatever I have underlined, only those things you need to remember. You need not to remember everything, right? What you have to remember, the thing which have been underlined by you. Okay. So now let's start. Look. Afferent, from where the filtrate come, pure blood come, efferent from where the pure blood goes. So now they have absorbed whatever the glomerulus absorb, that is called filtrate, right? So in proximal convoluted tubule, right? Approximately 65%, right? Remember, approximately 65% usable substances are absorbed here. What can be absorbed here? That is, hormones can be absorbed here, glucose can be absorbed here, amino acids can be absorbed here, and uh, sodium and potassium. Sodium and potassium. These can be absorbed here at PC. And again, water, right? So these are the substances. Look, from here there is a broken line. The upper part come in the cortex and lower part come in the medulla. Now, after that, what happened? This filtrate passes through here and it goes down to the loop of Henle, right? This is called descending limb, right? Descending limb is responsible for the reabsorption of water. It reabsorbs the water, right? And here, this filtrate, now the filtrate is hypotonic to the blood due to active absorption, right? And now this is called descending limb. The very important ascending limb. Very important is that ascending limb is impermeable to the water. This is the question. Descending limb is permeable to water, but ascending limb is impermeable to water, but it is permeable for NaCl, right? That you need to remember, right? This is permeable to NaCl and urea. Now the filtrate will go up to the this one at this nephron in ascending loop. Now DSC, distal convoluted tubule, very important. Next question. Now what happened here when it reaches to a DCT, distal convoluted tubule? DCT under the influence of aldosterone, the active reabsorption of sodium takes place. So sodium is absorbed in DCT, which help under the influence of aldosterone hormone, right? Aldosterone hormone is secreted by the adrenal gland, right? So under the influence of aldosterone hormone, sodium is absorbed actively, means due to expense of the energy. Next, water is absorbed in distal convoluted tubule under the influence of ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone is also secreted by posterior pituitary, right? Now the blood and filtrate both have a similar concentration, that is isotope. Now blood comes to the filtrate come to the connecting duct. From connecting duct, it comes to the collecting tubules. When it comes to the collecting tubule, here again the sodium is absorbed under the influence of aldosterone. Now we can use the urine term over here. Now the filtrate will again reaches to the collecting tubule. Sodium is again absorbed under the influence of aldosterone, right? And that's how the formation of urine takes place. Urine is hypertonic to the blood. That also you need to remember. Means urine have more concentration than the blood, and uh, isotonic to the medullary fluid. Isotonic to the medullary fluid, which is the fluid is there, right? So go through with it, and you have to remember only those things which I have highlighted. The rest thing you need not to remember. The thing which I highlighted in urine formation, these are the only questions. Rest are not questions. You have not to make the diagram. You have not to write it down in your board examination. Go through with it and tell me if you have any doubt. But what is absorbed where and under which influence, that you need to remember. Tell me if you have any difficulty, if you have any doubt. And tell me if you have not got any point. Go through with it quickly. It is important, not is important, it's very important. Is that okay? Every point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So micturition is just release of urine, right? Again, I told you that some part of urine. So you can control urine up to certain extent, right? When uh, internal sphincter will open, you need urination to go urination. Still, if you are unable to go urination, the external sphincter is under your control up to certain extent only, right? So look, micturition process means release of urine, right? So really micturiation or release of urine, that is under the neural control. There are two nerves which control it. That is the sympathetic nerve and parasympathetic nerve, right? Uh, they are responsible for sympathetic nerve, right? This is called nerve of filling, right? This is called nerve of filling, right? Nerve of filling. Why? Because this is responsible for filling the urine, right? It will. So what it will control? Look, it control the internal sphincter. It is responsible for closing of internal sphincter, right? It relax the urinary bladder, right? So when urinary bladder will be in the relaxed condition, it will allow the urine to get filled. Internal sphincter remains closed, right? So it will lead it to get filling, right? And what happened when it will get filled? Then it will open the internal sphincter, right? Now there is another nerve which is called parasympathetic nerve, right? And it is responsible for contraction of urination. It will responsible for contraction. It will contract urination. Then the person will feel urination, and it will open the this one. What? It will open the internal sphincter. Now there is another nerve which is somatic nerve system. This is voluntary, means it is under our control, right? So this nerve is it is controlled by the brain, and somatic nerve open the external sphincter when we wish, right? So this is sympathetic nerve is called nerve of filling because it this one, because it closes this internal sphincter and relax the urinary bladder. So urine get filled. And sympathetic parasympathetic nerve is called nerve of emptying. Why? Because it help in the contraction of urinary bladder when contraction will take place, and it will allow the internal sphincter to open, right? So it will try to empty the urinary bladder, right? So remember, sympathetic is called nerve of filling, parasympathetic is called nerve of emptying, right? These all things which I have underlined, they are the important questions. Tell me, is it clear or not?
So what does Maturation again.
Maturation means the release of the urine. When a person releases urine by its own wish, that process is called maturation. Clear to all? But you have to remember which is responsible for contraction, which is responsible for relaxation, which is nerve of filling, which is the nerve of emptying. These are the questions. I have made already star for them. Which is voluntary and which is involuntary. These things you need to remember. Clear to all?
Yes.
Dialysis. You know what is the dialysis? Artificial kidney. In artificial kidney. Hemodialysis. It's artificial kidney. Uh, Here we take a syringe is inserted here in the hand, right? And it is inserted in the radial artery. I have written over in radial artery. So blood is taken out in the from the radial artery. Blood removed for the cleaning. Now we transfuse the heparin, and we know heparin do not allow the blood to clot or coagulate, right? Then heparin is injected. Then what happened? There is a this blood pump. It pump the blood. Then what happened? We maintain the pressure, and blood passes through number of these small pipeline, semi-transparent pipeline. These pipelines are made up of cellophane, right? Cellophane pipeline, and these pipelines are surrounded by the a fluid that is called dialyzer, right? Dialyzer. So all these pipes are inside the path with the dialyzer, right? So what happened when the blood passes through them? The this cellophane membrane is transparent for the urea only, and it do not allow other component to go outside. So urea is absorbed by the dialyzer and it passes through here, and the new dialyzer blood come from here, and all this passes through here, right? It absorbs it, and that's how it clean the blood. And pure blood, when the urea is removed, the pure blood goes back to body again. uh, it is inserted inside the hand, right? So this is artificial kidney. It is given for this treatment is given for those whose kidney is not working, right? So this is called dialysis. Hope it should be clear to all of you. One more important thing which I want to mention over here. So kidney stone. Kidney stone. They are also known as renal calculi. Technically, the renal calculi and kidney stone both are the same thing. Renal calculi is a bit technical name, and kidney stone is just generic name. Kidney stone or renal calculi, they are made up of what? They are made up of a substance, and name of that substance is calcium glyoxylate. It's a salt of calcium glyoxylate. So this calcium glyoxylate salt they get deposit and they make the kidney stone. Right? Remember. So this is all for this chapter, and go through with this chapter in NCRT and this PPT. Ask me if you have any question. Then we will move to the next chapter. Go through with it quickly. We have just 2 minutes. Please go through with NCRT. Done? Clear to all of you? Bharat? Shafullah?
Yes.
Aksa? Memuna?
Yes, sir.
Hiba? Okay. So the next chapter is locomotion and movement. Now, the question is that what you need to remember. I'll keep on telling you what you need to remember because this is the rich of. I'll tell you what kind of the question have been asked. Look, so this is just for sake of information. What is the skeletal system? Nothing is questioned from this PPT, but you need to understand. Look, this is the structure of human skeleton, and the skeletal system is of two types. In our body, skeletal system is of two types. Exoskeleton, so hair, nail, external skin. So the upper part of the skin is dead, right? So these all are known as exoskeleton, which are found outside of the body. And the another kind of the system is called endoskeleton. Endoskeleton is that supportive system, that is that supportive framework, which is found inside our body. There are two things: bone and skeletal muscles, right? So bone and skeletal muscles. Bone gives shape to our body and it gives support to our body, and the skeletal muscles they help in the movement of it, right? So what is the function of endoskeleton, right? So first, support, then protection, then muscles attachment. They provide the platform for the muscle setting. They help in the movement and they maintain the body form, right? And they are responsible for blood formation. Yes, blood formation take place in the bone marrow, which is found inside the bone. They help in the breathing, intercostal muscles, right? We have seen, and this bone cage, they help in the breathing, and they are also site for the mineral reservation because the extra mineral which are found in our blood, they are deposited inside these bones. So they are also the site of deposition of minerals. Now come to the skill.
Sir, 1 minute. Can you go back?
Yes, sure, sure, sure.
Yes, done.
Now the question which I have uh, encountered in previous year question paper from the skeletal system. First, we'll study the skull. I have seen the question: how many bones are in our face? How many number of the bones in facial bones? That question. How many bones are found in the ear? Right? And cranium is made up of which of the following is not facial bone? Right? So these questions, the question example of the question I have told you, that kind of the question I have been asked. So look, how you have to remember. You need not to remember the name of every bone, but how you have to remember most of the things. So actually, the this complete skull is made up of four parts. I have divided it to four parts. First is a cranium bones. So cranium is known as the brain box, right? Cranium is known as just brain box. Cranium is known as the brain box. So look, brain box. When I say brain box, so this upper part where the brain is saved. So this complete upper part, this is called brain box, where brain remains safe. Right. This is called cranium. Right. So this part, look, this part is called cranium and this is known as the brain box. So cranium or brain box is made up of eight bones. Then ear, look, you have to listen, you have to read the question carefully. If the question says how many bones are there, then there should be that there are 6 bones, right? And how many pairs are 3 pair of bones, right? 2 malleus, 2 incus, and 2 stapes. Stapes is the smallest bone of the body, right? That you need to remember. Uh, Third part is called hyoid bone. Hyoid bone is this bone. It is found in some scientists say this is part of the neck. Some means part of the skull. Some scientists say this is the part of the respiratory system. Right. So still it's not clear, but we studied here as well. Right. So this is hyoid bone. This cover are this adamantine. Right. This part. Then facial bones. So there are 14 bones in our face. Right. So facial bone, you have to just remember the name of the number of the bones. Look, first come to the skull part. First bone is frontal bone. It makes this front part, right? This front part, this frontal part is front part, right? Then there are, so this is the single bone, right? This there is a no joint. You can see there is a no joint, right? So this is the single bone. So this is frontal bone. Then there are 2 bones are called parietal bones. Parietal means rooftop, right? So look, this rooftop part, it is made up of 2 bones, and these are called parietal bones. Parietal term itself means roof side. Temporal bone. So these bones, temple part, right? These bones are called temporal bone. So there are 1 frontal bone, 2 parietal, 2 temporal, and one occipital bone. Occipital means back side of a skull. This part, back side of the skull. So there is a 2 occipital bone. Clear? So how many bones are there? 2 to 4, 5, and 6 bones. Right. So these are the 6 bones. Where are the rest of the 2 bones? So look, this part, this white color part, they are called sphenoid bone. It is wedge. Sphenoid means wedge shape, right? So there are 2 sphenoid bones, one here and one here, 2 sphenoid bones. So total 8 bones are there. 2 sphenoid, right? One frontal, one frontal, uh, 2 parietal, 2 temporal, one occipital, right? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now come to the ear cycle. So ear cycle, they are found. These bone cannot be seen over here. We'll study them in the neural system. They are found inside our bone, ear, right? So there are in every ear there is 1 malleus, 1 incus, and 1 stapes, right? It is the ear is made up of 3 kind of the bones, and so 3 bones here and 3 bones here. So total 6 bones. So they are, but they are a part of skull. Then single bone, hyoid bone. You can see it is written over here. This is hyoid bone, right? Now come to the facial bone. So face is made up of 14 bones. Now try to understand. The 2 lacrimal bones. So lacrimal bones are found in the lacrimal gland. Tear glands are actually called lacrimal gland. So tears come out of lacrimal gland, and the bones which cover the lacrimal gland are called lacrimal bone, right? Uh, then 2 lacrimal bones. Then nose is made up of 2 bones. They are called nasal bone, right? So nose bone, this one and this one, this is the nasal bone. Then there is a zygomatic bone. Zygomatic means cheekbones, right? So these bones are zygomatic bones. These bones are called cheekbones. So 2 cheekbone, 2 maxilla means upper jaw, 2 bones in upper jaw, and 1 mandible lower jaw, right? So there are certain more uh, bones of the faces which cannot be seen. They are found inside. Vomer, inside the our mouth part. One vomer, 2 palatine bones, right? They make the palate. This part, 2 palatine bone, and 2 integral nasal conchae. They are found inside the nose part, right? So 2 integral nasal conchae, two uh, uh, two palatine bone, and 1 vomer, right? So these 5 bones cannot be seen in this diagram. So these are total number of face bones, and the face bones are 14 in number. This question, like how many bones are found in the faces, this question have been asked how many type of the ear cycles, how many bones are in the ear, that question I've been asked, right? And which of the following is not part of the uh, brain box, this question I've been asked, or which of the following is not facial bone, even this question I've been asked, right? You'll get these kind of the questions. Is that clear? Tell me. Go through with this structure and tell me. You have to go through with this diagram multiple times and try to understand the meaning of the bones. Means what does it mean by parietal, what does it mean by occipital, then you will come to know. That's how you have to learn.
So what does occipital condyle do?
What is it?
Occipital condyle.
Occipital. Actually, occipital uh, condyle is basically there is a hole like structure, right? So there is a girdle like structure. This are this backbone, the top part of the backbone axis that fit on the occipital condyle, and uh, there are two holes basically occipital condyle in which this are neck this backbone get fixed, and on which are this skull rotate on that, right? So these girdle are known as occipital condyle. We have two holes, that's why we are dicondylic. And the birds can rotate their, you must have seen, the bird rotate their head 360 degree. So they are monocondyle because they have single hole. They can rotate more their head. Tell me guys, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So I have told you what are the questions. What kind of the question you can get? Vertebral column. How many bones are in vertebrae, and what is this is the vertebral formula have been asked. Look. So first vertebral formula is C7, T12, L5, 5, sorry, S, 5 fused, C4 fused, right? So there are basically 33 vertebrae, right? Total, when we take birth, there are 33 vertebrae. Then what happened? The last three and last four, right? So let me tell you here. This is the side view and this is the front view. Look, the upper part of the vertebrae. So the backbone is made up of a small part of the bone. Every individual small part is known as the what? Vertebrae, right? So the upper part, neck part, is made up of 7 vertebrae. So this is known as cervical, right? The cervical part, the vertebrae part which make the neck is called cervical part, right? Then thoracic. So there are 12 bones which are called thoracic bones, right? Then lumbar means the stomach part, digestive system part. So 5 bones are lumbar bone, right? Then one sacrum and one coccygeal, right? Look, so formula is C7 means cervical 7, thoracic 12, lumbar 5, S sacrum. So one bone of the sacrum, it is made up of, it is the fusion of 5 bones. So 5 bones get fused and make one bone, right? So how many bones remain? How many bones disappeared? 4 bones disappeared because 5 bone fused. So I have deduct 5, 4 minus 4 over here, right? Then the last part is called tailbone, that is called coccygeal. Coccygeal bone is a fusion of how many bones? Fusion of 4 bones, right? So 4 bone get fused and make the one. Then I have written 4 minus 1 means minus 3, right? So minus 4 minus 33 minus 4 minus 3, answer is 26. So the adult person, adult human have 26 bones in its vertebrae, while the infant have 33 bones in their vertebrae, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Remember the formula. Remember how many bones make a sacrum, how many bone fusion is coccygeal. These are the questions. And remember all these four curve: cervical curve, thoracic curve, lumbar curve, sacral curve, and coccygeal curve.
Sir, can you say again why is there -4 and -3?
Look, this sacrum is fusion of 5 bones, right? So how many bones become less? That is fusion of 1
4.
bone, 4, right? So out of 33, I have deducted 4, right? Coccygeal is fusion of 4 bones. 4 bone become 1 bone. So how many bone deducted?
3.
3. I have deducted 3 here from here, right? So out of 33, 7 have been deducted, and the answer will be 26. So adult person like me and you will have 26 bone, right?
Yes, sir.
Floating bone have been asked, and which of the following is false bone? That have been asked. False bone and floating bones, and the cartilage which join the bone, that have been asked. Look, this part, the central part of the chest, this one, the central part of the chest. So central bone of the chest, which is here, right? This one. So central part of the bone, this is called sternum. Sternum is a dagger-shaped bone. It is made up of 3 parts. First, this head is known as manubrium, body, and xiphoid process. Clear? This is called clavicle notch. This part. This is called clavicle notch. Why? Because these bones, right? These bones are known as this one, which you can see. These bones are known as clavicles, right? This clavicle remains placed over here. That's why this is called clavicle notch. Where clavicle, this clavicle get placed over here. So these are called clavicle notch, right? And then the lower head part is manubrium, body, and xiphoid process, right? It is 15 centimeter longer, dagger shape, and help in respiratory process. Come to this one. Look. So this is known as thoracic case. Our lungs remain safe inside this case. So as you can see, uh, there are 1 to 7, means 7 pair of true ribs, right? These ribs come from outside and they remains connected with the what? They remains connected with this dagger like sternum, right? But these bones do not directly fuse into sternum. They are remains connected through with the help of a cartilage, and that cartilage is, the name of that cartilage is costal cartilage. Costal cartilage is a type of hyaline cartilage. That is a question. The name which is given here is a costal cartilage, but which type of cartilage? There are 3 type of the cartilage. So this is the hyaline cartilage, right? It's a transparent and flexible cartilage, right? Look, so 1 to 7 ribs, 1 to 7 pair of the ribs are known as true ribs. Why? Because they directly remains connected with the sternum. But rib number 8, 9, and 10 means 3 pair of ribs, 8, 9, and 10. These ribs get indirectly connected with the sternum. Why? They get connected with the 7th rib. You can see they get connected with the 7th rib and then get connected with the sternum. So these are called false ribs. So rib number 8, rib number 8, rib number 9, and rib number 10. So 8, 9, and 10th pairs are false ribs. Why? Because they indirectly connect with the sternum. Rib number 11 and 12 are called full floating ribs. Why? Because they keep on floating. They do not get connected with the sternum. What is their function? So 12, 11 and 12 ribs, their function is to protect kidney. Right? Tell me if you have any doubt.
Sir, can you scroll up, please? Up, sir.
This one.
Yes. Yes, sir, done.
Okay. Pectoral girdle. Look. Pectoral girdle means this shoulder bone, right? Shoulder is made up of, look. You must have seen those people which are weaker. We can see their backbone, this shoulder bone from the backside only, right? So this bone, this is blade shaped triangular bone. This is called scapula, right? This is called a scapula. And the upper part which remains outside, this is called acronium process. Acronium process is just the uh, it's just outside part of the scapula, right? So our neck bone, which is called clavicle, this clavicle, uh, uh, one side it remains attached with the clavicular notch, which I have told you period back, and another side it attaches with the acronium process. By the way, this scapula have a, a, uh, girdle-like structure, right? This scapula have a pit or a girdle-like structure. This girdle or plate, this girdle or depression is known as glenoid cavity. That you need to remember, glenoid cavity. Glenoid cavity is that girdle or that pit where the humor, this head of the humor, it rotates, right? This head of the humor rotate, right? And that's how we rotate our hand. We can rotate our hand. So there are two bones which make the pectoral girdle, clavicle and scap. Remember the glenoid cavity. And this scapula is known as shoulder blade. Tell me, is it clear? So pectoral girdle is made up of only two bones. That you need to remember: scapula and clavicle.
So what does acrominian process do?
Acronium acromion process, actually this is the uplifted part of the scapula only. It's a part of a scapula and it attaches with the clavicle. That is not a separate bone.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Bone of arms. How many bones are found in hand? That question have been asked, right? So look, bone of arms. Arm is made up of one humerus. This bone is called humerus. Radius and ulna, these two bones, right? Then eight carpel, sorry. So carpel, like this wrist part. This wrist part is made up of carpel. There are eight carpel, eight ball-shaped bones, and they remains arranged in the two row, right? So eight carpels, then five metacarpals, right? These are the five metacarpals, and the finger bones are known as the phalanges. So there are totally 14 phalanges. The formula is 2 plus 3 plus 3. 2 is to 3 is to 3 is to 3 is to 3. So there are 14 phalanges. Why? This last finger, it have the 3 phalanges, it have 3, it have 3, it have 3. But our thumb have only 2 phalanges, right? So phalangeal formula, this question have been asked. Phalangeal formula is 2 is to 3 is to 3 is to 3 is to 3, right? So how many bones are there in hand? 14 plus 5. How many there? 14 plus 5? 19, right? This is 20, 28, 29, 30. So how many bones are there? Total bones are 30. That question have been asked. So total 30 bones are found in our hand. pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle or pelvis. Right? This bone is known as ilium, right? Ilium. So actually, hip bone is known as innominate bone, right? So innominate bone, hip bone means innominate bone. Innominate bone or hip bone is made up of three bones: ilium, ischium, and pubis, right? So look, this is ilium. This part is called ischium, and this part is called pubis, right? So this is the pubic bone, the third bone, ilium, and this is ischium. So ilium, ischium, and pubic. These three bones make hip bone, right? There is pubic symphysis. It's a bit flexible structure. That's why we can move. So hip bone is made up of three bone, and the largest nerve of our body, that is called sciatic nerve. Largest nerve of our body, that is sciatic nerve, that passes through these bone, this ilium, right? And the head of femur, this thigh bone is known as femur, and head of the femur, uh, that uh, that head of the femur that articulate or uh, articulate or that move in the acetabulum. This is called hip joint, right? So cavity, the name of the cavity is acetabulum. Like we have seen the glenoid cavity in the case of the hand. Go through it and tell me. And remember, how many bones make the hip bone? That question I've been asked. From hip bone or innominate bone? Question I came from here. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Bone of legs. So how many bones are there in leg? Total 30 bones. Same like the hand. Look. The pelvic bone, ilium, pubis, and ischium. We have already covered that, right? They are not part of this one, so they are the part of hip bone or innominate bone, right? Ilium, ischium, and pubis, right? Then the first bone of the leg, that is the femur. This is the largest bone we know, and there is a kneecap, that cap-like structure which is found in our knee. That is called patella. This is called kneecap. Tibia and fibula. The lower part is made up of two bones, tibia and fibula. In case of the carpal, there are tarsals, right? So there we have studied in wrist, there are 8 carpal. Here there are 7 tarsals, right? 7 tarsals. And 5 in case of metacarpal, here is a metatarsal. 5 metatarsal and 14 phalanges. So formula is 2 is to 3 is to 3 is to 3, right? So there are 14 phalanges plus 5 tarsals, 19, and 7 5 metatarsal, 7 tarsal, so 14, 5, 19, 20, 26, right? 1 patella, which is extra. So this is 26, 27, right? And tibio fibula, 1 tibia, 1 fibula. So 28, 29, and 1 femur, that's 30. So there are total 30. In tarsal, 1 mole reduced, but as a patella, 1 mole increased. That's why there are 30. Go through with it and tell me. Is it clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
joints. So in human body, there are three type of the joint: fibrous or immovable joint. There are certain joints which are fibrous, immovable. You cannot move these joints. Means there is no movement, right? Then cartilaginous or slightly movable joint. So some joint there are slightly movable, where very small movement is there. Last, they are synovial or freely movable joint. So first come to the fibrous joint, right? Look, these are called fibrous or fixed joint. So fibrous or fixed joint, they are found in skull. So we have studied that our upper part is made up of some bones, and these brain box bone or cranial bone, they remains connected like this way, right? And they are the fixed joint. The joints are there. They are the fixed joint. Movement do not take place. Between the jaw and teeth, the joint movement never takes place. Between the tibia and fibula, movement never takes place, right? So these are made up of white fibers, and that is called fibrous joint. The second category of joint are slightly movable joint, right? Where very less movement takes place, like are in backbone or pubis symphysis, right? So between the vertebrae, there is a cushion-like structure, right? This cushion-like structure is made up of outer cartilaginous covering, and inner part is made up of gelatinous core, right? Gel-like substance, right? So the very less movement takes place between the muscles, right? Very less movement takes place between the muscles, right? So this is called cartilage. This is called uh, cartilaginous joint or very slightly movable joint. The same thing between our right and left hip, right? So between the hip there is a there is a joint which is made up of this same thing, cartilage and this cushion-like structure, and this is known as the pubic symphysis, right? So this is slightly movable joint. Clear? So that's
Yes,
it
sir.
for the day. In next class, we will start from the synovial joint. That is important. Synovial joint, right? Synovial joint. Then I will tell you the sliding filament theory and the rest of the part. So that's it for the day. And the same thing I repeat. Go through with the last 5 year previous year question paper, right? From 2018 onward. Go through with the PPT. Go through with the NCRT. Come with your term, right? Okay.
Sir, will you send these notes?
Actually, contact to the team like Saurabh or something might be someone might be in touch with you. So you have to just say them to send the link, right? So you will get the read only link of these notes, and you can go through with them, right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you show all the movements again?
Which one? No, this one.
A bit up, sir. Yes.